First on BBC One, Premier League football in Match of the Day with Desmond Lynham.
Good evening. Match of the Day has been around for a very long time. Have we ever seen a title race which is as close as this? Have we ever seen a relegation dogfight that's uncertain as this? Have you ever seen an episode as good as this? You be the judge. There are more thrills and spills at the top of the Premiership as Man United and Arsenal continue to go toe-to-toe for the Premiership title. We'll bring you all the goals from their games today. We're at Villa Park as Bolton Wanderers lead the charge to escape the Premiership relegation zone. Villa were their opponents. That's in form Aston Villa.
Fernando Nelson back for Taylor, took up a good position. Taylor for Collymore first time.
Everton might have starting a little miracle climb out of the relegation places, but Wednesday were their opponents today. Two stalwarts of the Football League going one-on-one here in the Premiership.
Pembridge. Di Canio, Carbone, Benito Carbone!
We've got all the goals and everything which has taken place so far at week 36. And after 36 weeks, trust me, Trevor and Trevor are very much still here. Nothing else though, none of that. But first and foremost, let's go and recap what's happened at the top of the Premiership. That's what you want to know, who's winning it, don't you? We've got the recap of Man United and Arsenal's games coming up with Arsenal's trip to Oakwell to play Barnsley. A big win for Arsenal in the title race against Barnsley, but it wasn't all their own way in the end, and a bizarre opening goal was disallowed for this moment, which you'll see very shortly. Bergkamp's excellent touch, but the referee disallowed it for offside as the last touch came off Ian Wright, who had no idea that it did so. It wasn't to be a clear moment for Arsenal as they would go ahead and take the lead in the second half. It was a fine ball through by Bergkamp, but the finish was just fantastic from Mark Overmars. Watson committed and the Dutchman finished it off. 2-0 arrived for Arsenal with more continuing play when Ray Parlour played through Namuel Petit to guide the ball under Watson and cement Arsenal's advantage. And with goal difference being a factor in the Premiership title race, Arsenal continued to attack and Dennis Bergkamp continued to show moments of brilliance, finding half a yard to turn on a sixpence and put the ball in the back of the net. The only disappointment for Arsenal is Bergkamp limped off at the final whistle.
Well, look at Dennis. It means I think he will be out 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know if he will play again this season, but I think he might be okay for the World Cup. But I think ultimately I am pleased. We have the advantage over Man United, and we will take that into our next game when we play.
As for Manchester United, how could they respond? Well, victory today would almost certainly relegate Crystal Palace, so much was riding on this. Man United knew they had to be clinical. Teddy Sheringham's effort striking the bar proved it wasn't to be. But eventually Man United were able to finish the match off and get 3 points. A quick free kick that was taken by Nicky Butt. Sheringham was able to beat Dean Gordon and this time keep his effort under the bar. United taking the opening lead in the game, and as Crystal Palace has to push forward, mistakes arrives. Kirchek lost the ball, and suddenly before they knew it, Andy Cole found him through. But such was the pressure of the situation, Cole missed. And as Palace continued to push forward, there were gaps at the back. Controversial moment of the match arrived when Gary Neville won the ball and seemed to clip Senza Kirchek. The Selhurst Park crowd bayed for a foul, Man United kept going, and Andy Cole finished brilliantly to make it 2 to Manchester United and allowed them to keep pace with Arsenal. Well, chaps, it puts them neck and neck at the top of the Premiership at the moment. Goal difference separate them, and Arsenal's goal difference is superior to Manchester United's. 2 games to go. Who wins it? You can't call it, can you? I mean, it's just brilliant for the game that this is how close this is and just what's on the line. I think first and foremost we need to acknowledge that's really great. I think goal difference will be a factor in the game. I'm surprised no team has dropped any points, but I'm looking towards Man United's game against Leeds in midweek. I think that'll be the key one. I think that'll when Arsenal get the advantage. I'm not sure Manchester United have quite got in the bag to get a Leeds United side out just based on their form. The way Leeds are playing, they could cause an upset and give Arsenal the advantage, but I definitely think it'll go to the final game of the season. Well, Trevor, what about yourself? Arsenal won quite comfortably, seem to be more free-flowing and scoring, but looks as if they're going to be out with Dennis Bergkamp. Yeah, you wonder, because I think Bergkamp's been absolutely vital for Arsenal. He's been a great player in Stoke. He's played some excellent football for them this season, the top scorer. But if they've lost him for the last 2 games, you hope the squad is good enough to come in for that. But just how key is Dennis Bergkamp? Well, a key game that took place at Goodison Park was the visit of Sheffield Wednesday. Everton sit languishing bottom in the relegation zone. A win would do them wonders to escape. For Wednesday, they're assured of survival at the moment. Ron Atkinson's side does like to occasionally upset the apple cart. Your commentator at this one is Trev Motson.
Just a few weeks ago, Everton fans had written off their team's chances of survival. Now, Goodison expects another great escape. Howard Kendall's resurgent Toffees have picked up form at the ideal time, and a win today could see Everton claw their way out of the bottom 3. Today's visitors are Sheffield Wednesday, who still aren't mathematically safe following a narrow defeat to Chelsea in midweek. Everton's recent heroes have been Duncan Ferguson and Nick Barmby. Their goals have helped the team pick up 7 points from a possible 9, the type of form that gets you out of trouble. Ron Atkinson names a familiar-looking team for Sheffield Wednesday. Di Canio and Carbone add Italian flair, whilst the likes of Magilton and Nicol keep things calm. Andy Hinchcliffe returns to Goodison for the first time since leaving Everton. Hinchcliffe over the set piece for the Owls. Atherton picks up the knockdown. Carbone! Oh, what a start for Sheffield Wednesday! 6 minutes in, and Wednesday take the lead. It's Benito Carbone. Firing into the bottom corner. Everton didn't deal with the set piece. Atherton had time to pick out Carbone. Who fired into the bottom corner. Wednesday 1 up at Goodison early on. It's a disastrous start for the hosts. The home crowd so expectant coming into this one. Ferguson finds Farrelly, who is fouled, and a chance for Everton to come up with an immediate response. It's a yellow card to skipper Atherton. Stephen Lodge going into his book for the first time this afternoon. And moments after setting up Sheffield Wednesday's opener, Atherton goes into the book. Nick Barmby then for Everton. Wonderful save by Kevin Pressman. That was heading for the top corner. It's a brilliant stop. Alex Anderson to Nicol. Now Jim Magilton. Pembridge. Di Canio. Carbone. Benito Carbone! Nearly scores for the second time. Good football by Sheffield Wednesday. Ron Atkinson will be pleased with that one. Paul Gerrard was there to deny Carbone. Corner kick to be taken by Andy Hinchcliffe. On his return to Everton. Alexanderson's header drops behind. But a really open start to this one. Slaven Bilic up towards Ferguson. He flicks it on to Madar. This is John Oster on the right hand side. It's up against Pembridge. Does well. Madar's header. He can only angle it over the crossbar. The chances are coming at both ends. We thought it was going to be tight and tense. It's far from it so far. Barnby, who has scored 2 winning goals in recent weeks, to give Everton real hope of avoiding the drop. Barnby, Ferguson, back to goal. Turns well and gets his shot away. Really sharp play from the Scotland frontman. Not sure Pressman would have got there. Gerrard hits it long. Ferguson's always the target, and more often than not, he gets his head onto the ball. Barnby finds Oster. Left-footed cross. Ferguson's there to equalise for Everton. Brilliant header by Duncan Ferguson. He scored in a 1-1 draw in midweek. But now Everton are hunting something much more important. They want all 3 points. Just over half an hour on the clock, and Ferguson scores yet again for Everton. Great cross by Oster, and there was Big Dunk. We're all square at Everton. 1-1. Ferguson to Oster. Tremendous atmosphere in Goodison Park. Really roaring on the Toffees. Ferguson, Madar, deflected wide. They're coming alive. And Sheffield Wednesday are on the ropes. Good block. 5 minutes until the break. It's been a wonderful first half. Flicked on by Ferguson towards Madar. Good defending. Comes to Oster. He's already set up 1 goal. Barnby. Oh, deflected it in! A huge slice of fortune! And Everton have turned this one around. Oster played it short to Barnby, and it is a wicked deflection that takes the ball beyond Kevin Pressman. Nickel. Di Canio will get onto this! And he's put it wide. Wonderful opportunity for Paolo Di Canio. He shrugged off his man, and he really should have scored. Madar. Farrelly. Back to Madar. Hutchison up towards Ferguson. Barnby clips the outside of the woodwork. That combination working so well. Ferguson's knocked down. Barnby's effort, and so close to making it 3-1. Brilliant effort by Nick Barnby. Magilton. Now Guy Whittingham. Cleared by Everton. Comes to Madar. Ferguson. Loose layoff, but Madar keeps it alive. Barnsley for Everton. Stings the palms of Pressman. An hour played and Everton remain on the front foot as they look to get themselves out of the bottom three. It's a brilliant effort from Howard Kendall's men. Whittingham. Now Peter Atherton. Into Magilton. Good save, Gerrard. You sense there are more goals to come. Sheffield Wednesday with the latest effort. Magilton with it. There was Gerrard though. Corner ball. Ferguson again gets his head to it. Oster's ball. Madar was in the middle, headed away. Comes to Barnsley. Nick Barnsley! Everton coming closer and closer to a third. Another excellent stop by Pressman. Oster. Ferguson beaten in the air. Not often you can say that. Here's Petter Rudy, the substitute. Dispossessed by Oster. Now Ferguson. Oster and Ferguson having their own game of football over on the right hand side. Des Walker stops it, and here comes Sheffield Wednesday on the counter. Nicol. Charges forward, Steve Nicol. Finds Whittingham. Di Canio, 2-2. Paolo Di Canio. The Italian missed a glorious opportunity on the stroke of half-time. But on this occasion, he finds the back of the net to silence the majority of Goodison Park. It was patient play from the Owls. And ultimately, Di Canio showed the composure to tuck the ball beyond Gerrard and make it 2-2. What a game we've been treated to. Hutchison for Everton. Dispossessed, Di Canio lays it back to Magilton. Ball layoff though, and here's Ferguson, who couldn't take the ball in his stride. And the chance goes begging. He had oceans of space, and his control just let him down. It ends 2-2 at Goodison. A result that will certainly suit Sheffield Wednesday more than the hosts. The Toffees thought they had done enough to get all 3 points, thanks to goals from Duncan Ferguson and Nick Barnsley. But Paolo Di Canio's late goal means Sheffield Wednesday will be heading home with a point in their back pocket. It's ended at Goodison Park. Everton 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2.
What a brilliant game, let's be honest. It was a fantastic watch. Everton have really picked things up under Howard Kendall the last few weeks. You could see that here today, but ultimately just didn't quite have enough to hang on. Well, yeah, maybe so. I mean, they got a huge slice of luck with that deflected Nick Barmby goal off Stefanovic, and to a certain extent, you sort of thought to yourself, well, you wonder if this was the occasion. But I think 2 was a fair result. I think Wednesday still possessed lots of opportunities. Everton, the way they played, the ability of Ferguson to wind up, I think Mikkel Maydar may not want to see this game again because, you know, he had quite a few opportunities, couldn't take them, and that's football. You've got to take your chances. Well, with Everton dropping points, the stage was set for Bolton Wanderers, but Aston Villa were their opponents, and they've been in an excellent form for them at the moment since they've sacked their manager and John Gregory's taken over. Your commentator at Villa Park is Trev Champion.
Villa Park the setting. Bolton Wanderers know that they couldn't capitalise midweek with that 3-2 defeat to Leeds on Southampton's defeat to the very team they faced today, Aston Villa. Villa have been involved in the relegation battle, but from the outside, Stan Collymore and Dwight York, the target men up front today. Taylor as a linchpin in midfield, and a strong back line for Villa. Bolton Wanderers know that they have to pick up points. It is so tight down there at the bottom. They'll be looking for some goals from Blake and Holdsworth today, and some creative wing play from Salako perhaps, but nevertheless we kick off at Villa Park. This should be a very physical, very competitive contest. As Bright takes us down the left-hand side for Collymore to cross, and Brannigan got a punch in there, and Taggart into the path of York! 20 seconds on the clock, and Aston Villa have taken the lead against Bolton Wanderers. Surely one of, if not the fastest goal of the campaign of 97-98, Dwight York has owned the scoring, and that's exactly what Bolton Wanderers didn't want in their quest to stay in the Premiership. Collimore's cross was hopeful, it was in towards York, but Taggart's header planted it right back at his feet, and he couldn't have asked for a bigger gift. Villa lead, and the Bolton end is silenced almost immediately. The Villains are buoyant. It's in towards York again. York holding it up, and the tackle came in, and Salako trying to get them going again. Blake with the flick, but Bolton really struggling at the moment. York shot, hit Fish there directly. It's come back for York again, and Fish goes in for the challenge, and Cox was there too, and the referee is pointed to the spot, and it's all going wrong for the Wanderers. Fish protests, as does Cox. Both of them were included in that. York with some tricky skill, little turn, and it's a combination, I think, Salako actually and Fish. York to take, York to score, and we've not had 10 minutes at Villa Park, and it's slipping away from Bolton. It's Fish's trip there, and I think Salako blocked him off, but York, who won the penalty, stepped up, and his second goal of the game, and it's a great start for him. It's a terrible one for Bolton. It's a matter of 5 or so points in that bottom half of the league, and Bolton know they are right above that drop zone. It is so tight down there. Here's Taylor. Fernando Nelson back for Taylor, took up a good position. Taylor for Collymore first time, and he just dragged it wide of the post. It's dangerous play from Villa again, and Taylor put it on a plate. Collymore, I don't think he got his angles quite right there. Plenty of power, no precision. Good ball. Finding Taylor, and here's Grayson, and Villa just calmly stroking it about here. Nelson, he's got the run on Thompson, who got back well, to be fair. Elliott, and again that long ball hasn't worked today. Blake couldn't control it. Grayson, Taylor, and he slipped in York. Hat-trick hunting, he's got it. What a day this has been for Dwight York. Everything he has touched has ended up in the back of the net. 3 attempts, 3 goals, and Bolton just cannot handle his movement today. Bolton have gone long and it hasn't worked, and Villa have kept it simple. And the through ball was accurate. The shot inside the near post. Brannigan will be disappointed, but there was plenty of power in that from York, and if you hit the target, you always run the chance of reaping the reward, and he's done just that. Collymore in for York. Taggart got the challenge in, referee deeming it a free kick. And the Villa fans in good song here. They've had a decent campaign. They will finish in a comfortable position. But for Bolton Wanderers, the threat of relegation is very real, with 2 games left to play in the Premier League season. They're going to have to dig deep. Thompson complaining about that, but the free kick does go to Villa, and Staunton will take. Chipped in towards York, and Cox clears, but it's going to come back. Taylor, Collymore with the left foot, and similar to the first half, just wide of the left-hand post. Plenty of whip on that from Collymore. Solarco, been on either side today, all over the field. Ross deflected, it's going to come out for Blake, and here's Dean Holdsworth. And Grayson trying to get to him, Holdsworth held him off well. Sheridan. Holdsworth again, it's a good move from Bolton this. Solarco. Cox, that's a good ball in for Blake, and it's poked in by Holdsworth. Bosnich made the save, but he could only palm it out to the forward, and Bolton have a goal back. There may yet be hope for them. It's really their first meaningful attack, but they kept it on the ground this time, and it benefited. Lovely ball in from Cox, it's a good header from Blake near post. And Bosnich did a good job initially, but Holdsworth, like any good centre forward, was on hand to prod it over the line. Cox going long. Bolton just going to throw everything at it now. They've really nothing to lose at this point. Franson helped on for Holdsworth. And here's Franson. And Sheridan! Well, they couldn't, could they? It is 3-2, and Bolton have somehow managed to find it in them to claw their way back into this game, and maybe there is hope yet, not just in this game, but in staying in the Premier League for next season. It's a sensational strike from Sheridan with the laces, caught it flush. Bosnich no chance, and Bolton have narrowed the gap. Launching it long, there's only seconds left here. Staunton, oh, he slipped, and Holdsworth, and Staunton managed to recover. Heart in the mouth moment there for Villa. Southgate, Grayson, and it's all over. Aston Villa with their second win on the bounce. Bolton Wanderers with their second 3-2 loss on the bounce. They had an admirable fight back, but it's Dwight York that takes the ball home. His hat-trick has condemned Bolton Wanderers today. It's Aston Villa 3, Bolton Wanderers 2.
Well, we've seen the quickest goal of the season. 20 seconds it was clocked at the moment, and Aston Villa winners. But Bolton showed a bit of fight back at the end, but perhaps been a story of their season. Too little, too late. You probably say so, I think. I think ultimately when you look at the match and the way it's gone at the moment, you've got to say fair play to Villa. I thought they played really well. They didn't let that end the season. It's all right, they still went out there to show. And they're a side in form at the moment, and you look at Dwight York and you have to say he is absolutely outstanding. Great form, playing some excellent football. He would be a fantastic signing for anybody looking to go up to the next level next season. I really think top-class performance from him. Well, let's have a look at all the other goals and all the other moments that's taken place from this weekend in the Premiership. Well, this was a repeat of the Coca-Cola Cup final, and for Chelsea, a moderate revenge for them as they won this game quite comfortably. But what it does mean for Chelsea is good prep for their Cup Winners' Cup final to come up, and a striker that's in form for them, Torre Flo getting the opening goal. There was controversial moments in the match as Liverpool were able to get themselves back into it. Dan Petrescu was judged to have fouled Leonardson in the box. The challenge from behind, said the referee. Upset Robbie Fowler from the spot, and he coolly placed the ball past Ahoy to make it 1-1. But it was as good as it would get for Liverpool as Chelsea accelerated away straight from the kickoff. There's that old saying, you're never so vulnerable to Hazard when you score, and none was that proven here today. Chelsea, without Liverpool getting a touch, coolly played their way through. Flo got his second. And that was it really as far as Liverpool's challenge was done. Chelsea continued to dominate the match in the second half, were able to get 2 more goals. More space here provided by Zola to find Dennis Wise, who had to wait for a couple of ricochets but eventually was able to accelerate. And then the fourth goal arrived with Dennis Wise and Torre Flo combining, this time to give the ball to Gianfranco Zola, who got his deserved goal in the match and rounded off a wonderful afternoon for Chelsea, who were big winners over Liverpool.
Well, Italiano, you play good football, I think we can win the cup final, spaghetti bolognese, yes.
Now as match-winning moments go, Blackburn Rovers produced something quite brilliant in this game. It was this effort from McKinley which completely called out Neil Sullivan to give Rovers a surprise win. Their form struggled this season. Moments of brilliance like that may help them. Spurs were comfortable winners over the FA Cup finalists, and it was a chance to show that this Spurs side do have the potential. And what a signing Nicola Berti has been. He was able to charge through and get the opening goal. And Spurs themselves were able to continue this good form in the second half, led by Berti, and Jurgen Klinsmann found room at the near post to beat Shay Given and to strike home for Spurs. Surely now that's Klinsmann on the plane to France in a month's time. West Ham themselves have been a good side when they've played at home this season, so it was shocked to see them beat by Southampton, but from the Saints' standpoint this confirmed their safety. It didn't get off to the best of start when Lunderburn was dispatched by Ayol Berkovic, who coolly slotted the ball home to give the Hammers the lead. But Southampton started their comeback and completely outplayed Southampton. It was almost as if this was Southampton's day in which they chose to get themselves out of any relegation trouble. A brilliant finish from Egil Ostenstad, having played through, equalised. Winning goal arrived in the second half when Carlton Palmer combined to play in Matt Letizia. A wonderful ball through in the middle that was well taken by Ostenstad. A cool finish 1-1 with McCloskey, 2-1 to the Saints. And then a hammer blow for the Hammers in the second half as 3-1 arrived. Carlton Palmer's excellent through ball, Matt Letizier's absolutely unstoppable finish sealed all 3 points for Southampton and Premiership survival with 2 games to spare. Well, I've got to say, I thought, in all fairness, I thought Southampton were terrific today. I thought they were really good. I think, it mattered to them because they had their survival. They had everything to play for. They were great. Us, let's be honest, we were weren't we? An absolute treat that took place between Leeds United and Coventry City. A wonderful game in which defending was not an option. Goal scoring was the only rule of thumb. And the opening goal by Hasselbank gave Leeds the lead. The second goal arrived when Hopkin and Hasselbank combined again to play through Hopkin for a delightful 1-2. Instant control, instant finish again. Leeds United enjoying life in their afternoon at Ellen Road. But Coventry City have been a surprise package this season and got themselves back into the match. A brilliant through ball by Marcus Hall, a delightful finish by Dion Dublin, at the second attempt anyway, went ahead and brought hope to Coventry, and the score was to change 5 minutes later. After play here for Boateng, it eventually found its way through to Virat Moldovan to towboat the ball home and make the score 2 apiece. And Coventry supplied everyone by taking the lead. Dion Dublin was able to dispossess Haller, 1-1 with Nigel Martin, an unstoppable finish. Does Dublin play in France for England? But Leeds United themselves got themselves an equaliser in the end, and it was probably justly deserved in the end. Inart's free kick was headed in by Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank to make it 3-3. A real end-of-season treat for these two sides, showing real potential in this one. Well, one of the performances of the season by Leicester City that completely tore apart Derby County as Derby start to adjust to life in their new home after the first full season. They've had some moments, but they have had some heavy defeats. Emil Heskey was unplayable today. He got the opening goal for Leicester City. Leicester continued to push forward, and Steve Walsh provided a ball for Tony Cottee to coolly finish and to make it 2. Cottee, after his trip to Turkey when he was looking to soak in the end of retirement, has had a second lease of life at Leicester City. His second goal proved it, when it powered right the way past Russell to make it 3. And then it was 4. Zagarakis' header into Heskey. He saw that Cottee had space. He was able to turn Stimmich, guided the ball home to score a hat-trick. Second hat-trick of the day, mind you. A performance to savour by Leicester City and from Tony Cottee, and the sheer delight of their manager. You know, I was very pleased. I thought we played some good football. I think that was definitely our intention. The opponents, they were rather bananas in how they were approached. I thought we did a really good job, and having won the European Cup twice, I know what I'm on about. Top of the table, Manchester United and Arsenal confirmed they're both on 77 points. Goal difference separates them. With 3 games to go, Chelsea, the best they can hope for is 3rd place. That's assured for them. UEFA Cup football is confirmed for them. Liverpool, Villa, Leeds and Blackburn Rovers, the Cup football themselves. European football is still very much up for grabs. Bottom of the table, Crystal Palace, albeit there's 2 games to go, 6 points available and 5 at stake. Mathematically, if results don't go their way, they will be relegated in midweek. Barnsley know they need similar things to go their way. Bolton Wanderers, despite that defeats today, find themselves in the relegation zone, and that's on goal difference. Everton's is far superior. Wimbledon themselves, though at 16th, still aren't completely safe. Well, a cracking weekend of footballing action. It will conclude very shortly, but you might have to wait a little while for the finale. There's the Cup final, and there's the UEFA Cup final to come as well. But don't worry, when you see us, we'll be here for the finale, and it should be an absolute thriller. From all of us, bye-bye. Thank you for watching here this match on Trevor Sports. If you've liked it, please don't be afraid to like, share and subscribe to the channel. And if you do fancy it, head on over to Ko-fi. The link is in the description. Buy me a coffee for all the hard work. Further than that, make sure you enjoy more games coming up.